Hello and welcome to World of Sports, your roundup of all of the weekend's global sporting action. I am your host, Joshua Barnes. On the show tonight, England and India are set for a nail-biting finish at Lords. England need just one more wicket. India need 34 runs. Yannick Sinner beats Carlos Alcaraz to claim his first Wimbledon title in 4 sets. Iga Swiatek wins 6-0, 6-0 to claim victory in the women's tournament at SW19. Chelsea stun European champions Paris Saint-Germain to lift the rebranded FIFA Club World Cup in America. And Liverpool pay tribute to their former player Diogo Jota, who died in a car crash with his brother in Spain during the off-season. But we start the programme tonight with football, and Cole Palmer lit up the MetLife Stadium with a first-half blitz as Chelsea crushed PSG 3-0 to win the Club World Cup in style. Palmer scored twice and assisted João Pedro as Chelsea outclassed the French giants in a stunning display. PSG favourites going in looked flat and finished with 10 men after João Neves was sent off for violent conduct. Chelsea's high press choked PSG's rhythm, with Enzo Maresca delivering a tactical masterclass. It's Chelsea's second Club World Cup title and a massive statement win for the Conference League champions. Well, what a night of football it was, and what a tournament overall. Joining us to discuss the tournament as a whole, and Chelsea, who lift not just the trophy but also gain over $100 million in prize money. Dr. Pradyumna Tembakar, an Indian ambassador to the FIFA World Cup, as well as the team doctor of the Jamshedpur FC and Indian senior men's national volleyball. Thank you ever so much for joining us there. I can see you are wearing a Chelsea top. As a Chelsea fan, what does it mean to see Enzo Maresca win his second piece of silverware in a season that started with not much optimism?
Well, the transition looked pretty fierce, to be honest, and especially given what has happened in the last couple of seasons overall, not just with Enzo Maresca taking over. There has been a Pochettino reign that didn't go well. There has been a second stint of Lampard. Chelsea fans overall haven't seen the best of the club for the last 2.5 seasons and counting. And thankfully, especially given that Chelsea now has qualified to the Champions League, that just gave Maresca's side a kind of a boost that we wanted to see for a very long time. And finally, the domino effect is seen with tactical masterclass, player confidence, players returning from injury. Reece James finally lifting up that trophy is just the cherry on the cake. I just hope the trophy trend continues, onwards and upwards we go.
Yes, of course, at least for my upbringing. Chelsea under Jose Mourinho, the dominant side, winning silverware and consistently winning it through the 2000s and 2010s. Do you think someone like Cole Palmer, who didn't just spearhead this Chelsea team throughout the last couple of seasons, but also in this final, do you think he is one of those generational players who can really guide Chelsea now into the upper echelons of European football on a consistent basis?
Well, he's proved time and again, and as a youngster, switching sides from Man City to Chelsea was indeed a bold move, and consistently cementing his place into the starting 11, that too in a top 6 club like Chelsea, who was indeed struggling to make an impact of that sort, and not just the positional play, but the overall presence of mind that he shows. He knew Donnarumma was a keeper who was always going to be present, however the strikers are going to shoot the ball. And the kind of game that the PSG goalkeeper was also showing throughout the tournament, Palmer studied him very well, and he knew the weakness was his outstretched hand towards the sides of the netting, where every keeper finds it difficult. And to score twice in a final, in a packed stadium, is absolutely incredible. I scored for a reason, not just technically, but overall as a player going forward in this generation of talent.
Yes, absolutely. I want to talk about the tournament as a whole now. Of course, amongst many football fans, the tournament criticised also players and managers alike, talking about the packed schedule, fixture congestion, another tournament when clubs who weren't participating were in their off-season. Many of the top teams across the world taking part in this tournament, and there were low attendances at first. But from your perspective, and given, of course, your work and what your role is within the game, do you think that the rebranded Club World Cup has been a positive, or do you think there are still lessons to be learnt?
To be honest with you, I felt this was kind of an off-season tournament with an international significance, not just with the branding, but given that we are just 1 year away from the FIFA World Cup, which is also going to take place in the same area as the FIFA Club World Cup took place, something like a rebranded format or a club version of maybe, let's say, the Confederations Cup or what Qatar did with the Arab Cup in 2021 in the build-up to 2022. I think operationally or logistics wise or whatever 60 odd avenues which are present in a tournament while building up to this, when you're building up to a tournament rather, somewhere down the line, yes, the format was new, the concept was new, but as and when the business end approached, you do see the kind of thrill that was present in the stands as well. So overall, I would actually say that a good step in the long run. A rebranding of sorts was needed, and you saw with the likes of Copa Libertadores teams and especially Al Hilal from AFC, which also has played in Mumbai, my home city, against Mumbai City FC. So you see that kind of intercontinental competitiveness that is gaining momentum, and the rebranded structure indeed goes on to show that there is ambition in developing the beautiful game in newer ways to come.
Absolutely. And Pradyumna, to end our discussion, I want to look at money in football. It's a topic that every football fan has been talking about. Of course, the European Super League, a big point of contention. One thing being brought at this tournament is the disparity in wealth. You have top teams participating in a tournament with $1 billion worth of prize money. Lots of countries getting tens of millions of dollars just for participating. Do you think a tournament like this, even though it is once every 4 years, is going to continue that trend of money leading the game? And do you think it's an issue that really needs to be looked at?
Absolutely. Yes, money does play a part in not just club operations or fan engagement or whatever that the club decides to spend on, even player transfers for that matter. Prize money is given in substantial amounts, or sometimes even when we look at prize monies, yes, eyebrows are raised, eyeballs are turned in a certain direction. But when you see stories like the New Zealand team that came in from Oceania, which has not even professional footballers on their roster, or
so much money for them.
Absolutely, so much money for them. Also, at the same time, yes, these stories would make sure that an equal distribution of financial resource is guaranteed at the end of the tournament. Like if you have a participant coming in from places where you don't even have professional players, like the same way you see in European competitions for that matter, like the Conference League or the Europa League or even the FA Cup for that matter, where you see teams which have part-time footballers playing, but at least the disparity is avoided when it comes to the financial reward or the financial expenditure that is balanced out by either federations or the internal structures that guide on with making sure that the budgeting is on the right scale. So I guess, yes, the start looks a bit different, but overall, if you are bringing in the right amount of resource, the right percentage of share, as well as making sure that once you have the right amount of even distribution of this currency in whatever format you're distributing, I just hope the motivation will not be a check, but the real trophy that will be lifted by any team at the end of the tournament.
Yes, absolutely. And as a Man City fan, it pained me to see Chelsea lifting the title, but I'm happy for yourself and for the rest of the Chelsea fans back in the UK. Dr. Pradyumna Tembakar, thank you ever so much for taking the time to speak with us. And I don't wish you the best for the upcoming season, as long as you finish second and City first. But now, as you just saw there, it is time for the breakdown. We start at Wimbledon and start on Saturday as Iga Swiatek made history, storming past Amanda Anisimova 6-0 in just 57 minutes to win her first title at the All England Club and her 6th Grand Slam title overall. The Polish tennis star delivered a flawless performance, becoming the first woman to win a Wimbledon final without dropping a game since 1911. Swiatek, just 24 years old, had never won a Grand Slam on grass before, calling the moment super surreal and admitting Wimbledon once felt out of reach. Anna Samova, also contesting her first ever final, struggled with nerves and finished with 28 unforced errors and 5 double faults. Fighting back tears, she thanked the crowd and said she simply ran out of gas. A dominant display from Swiatek, cementing her as a true force on every surface. We then move to Sunday, and in a blockbuster Wimbledon final, world number 1 Jannik Sinner claimed his first title at the All England Club, defeating Carlos Alcaraz in 4 gripping sets. It went 4-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-4. Just over a month after a heartbreaking loss to Alcaraz at the French Open, Sinner flipped the script, ending the Spaniard's 24-match winning streak and denying him a 3rd straight Wimbledon crown. The 23-year-old Italian delivered a composed and clinical performance to win his 4th Grand Slam and his first not on a hard court. Sinner called the moment so special, saying he's living his dream. Alcaraz, gracious in defeat, praised Sinner's game and said their rivalry will only grow. Another thrilling chapter in what's shaping up to be the sport's next greatest rivalry. Let's now have a listen at what the world number 1 had to say after claiming his first Wimbledon crown.
It is important for sure, because, you know, when you lose several times against someone it's not easy, but in the same time, in the past, I felt that I was very close. If you watch all matchups, you know, I'm starting Beijing, 7-6 in the 3rd. Then Rome I had set point in the first set, I couldn't use it. Then, you know, in Paris happened what happened, and but I felt, you know, close, you know, and I never pushed myself down. I keep looking up to Carlos, because even today I felt like he was doing a couple of things better than I did. So that's something where we will work on and prepare ourselves, you know, because he's gonna come for us again, and there's not only Carlos but everyone, you know. We have a big target on us, so we have to be prepared, and then we see what's happening in the future.
Well, yes, as we heard from Sinner there, a game for the ages, this rivalry that we are seeing, like the French Open final just over a month ago, a real contest. And let's now break down exactly how each set went. And despite the final result, Carlos Alcaraz himself winning the first set, it was a tight encounter, but the Spaniard riding on that wave of 24 games unbeaten. But just look at the statistics. It really does show you how close these two were matched in the first set. 55% first serve each, limited double faults, only 1 each, and the aces, Carlos nicking that one. But it was the break points converted, taking 2 of the 3 opportunities he had. And clearly, winners was where he made it, and unforced errors here from Jannik Sinner. The tide was moving in one direction, and as we head into the second set, there was a clear flip, and that tide didn't stop moving in that direction. We just wait for the second set to come up, and as it does, the scoreline flips as well as that momentum. Alcaraz and his serve was on fire, 7 aces, but compounding that with 3 double faults as well. You can see a shift now earlier in the first set, just 55% first serve percentage. For the world's top 2 players, you'd expect that to be higher, and Sinner coming out 67%. More opportunities for Sinner as well, 4 break points, converting the one that he needed. Alcaraz, again, lots of winners, but a lot of unforced errors. Those mistakes coming into his game. But this was a high-class performance from both athletes, pushing each other. And these errors, of course, a combination of fatigue, but also a match-up against a player at the top of their game. We'll move into set 3 of set 4. And it's a similar picture. This momentum that Jannik Sinner had, he continued to ride that wave. And this first serve, again, 68% for Yannick, below 45% for Carlos. Aces as well, Yannick Sinner's coming back into this game. No breakpoint conversion opportunities for Alcaraz. And just look at the winners. A lot of unforced errors for Sinner in this set, but his domination through winners clear to see. And the fourth and final set, it's the same story for Sinner. Looking again at the first serve percentages, Sinner taking it, 1 break point, more winners and less unforced errors. A very clear victory for Sinner. These breakdown stats showing you why. But let's have a brief listen to Carlos Alcaraz, of course the winner at Roland Garros last time out, and as always, gracious in defeat.
Feeling, losing matches, I think it's a little bit even worse when you lose in a final. But overall, I'm just really proud about everything I've done. The last 4 weeks on grass here in London, and just leave Wimbledon. I just left the court with the head really, really high, because that I just did everything that I could today. I played against someone who played an unbelievable game. So just a little bit sad about losing, but with the head really high. First of all, I just really happy about having this rivalry with him. I think it's great for us, and it is great for the tennis. Every time we play against each other, I think our level is really high. I think we don't watch a level like this, if I'm honest.
Well, 2 players at the absolute top of their game, both in their early 20s as well. This rivalry is one that we will look ahead to, not just in the upcoming tournaments, but the final major of the year starting in August at the US Open. My money is on Carlos to come back, but of course we look forward to that happening. But we do move on now, and we head to the world of cricket, and an absolute nail-biter at play between India and England at Lord's, the home of cricket. With a session to go in the day, England require just 1 wicket after gaining 5 throughout the first 2 sessions. India, on the flip side, need just 30 runs. Ravindra Jadeja is at the crease, with him Mohammad Siraj, of course, who's better known for his bowling, but currently India are holding firm. Jofra Archer back in the squad. Jasprit Bumrah, after being rested last time out, also back in the squad. And we've seen cricket played out not in Bazball fashion, but in old traditional Test cricket fashion. We've seen lower run rates, all 5 days being utilised, and we will play every single session. This last 30 or so overs we expect to be exciting. It may only take a couple if a wicket is hit. Joining us to discuss this Test series and Test cricket as a whole is an extremely special guest, John Nyumbi, who is a former Zimbabwean cricketer, joining us to discuss this Test series, which we're only 2 and a bit games into, but is shaping up to be a series for the ages. John, I want to start off by looking at both of these sides. And do you think that this series and how close this is a real highlight of the fact that both teams are at the top of the game? Of course, England in their prime, but India's new generation coming through and showing that Indian Test cricket is in safe hands.
Yes, I think, like you rightfully said, there's a mixture of everything. I mean, even in the way the teams play, the Indians are more calm about how they go about things, especially on the batting front. They've got the little pocket rockets, the exuberance of youth in Yashvi Jaiswal and Pant. And then in amongst that, they've got the calm KL Rahul, the calm captain Shubman Gill, Jadeja. But then England on the other side have just got a lot of energy when they bat, apart from Joe Root, who's also one of the calmer of the batters. Everyone else looks to up the ante. So it's just like a way of saying baseball, as you put it earlier, versus tradition. But then in this test, we saw that the traditional way of playing test cricket has won it. And that's why we're at a stage that we're at. That's why we're getting entertained in a different way as we've been in this test match so far.
Yes, absolutely. And John, of course, a big series ahead for this England side. Ben Stokes, captain, of course, of the English Test team, spoke about these 10 Test matches that were coming up at the start of the summer. This 5-game series against India, but also then the Ashes in Australia. Stokes, to cement his legacy, wants to win both series. How do you think this England side is shaping up with key figures missing? Jofra Archer now back in the fold, but key bowlers like Mark Wood, Gus Atkinson as well missing. Do you think this England side has what it takes to win down under and finally claim an Ashes series in Australia?
I think it would be important for them to take care of their bowlers, because all those guys that you've mentioned are fast bowlers. And with the way they're approaching Test cricket is they look to score runs quickly, get in and bowl, hopefully get them out and then score runs quickly again. So which means the seamers are not getting adequate rest. So it's important that in whatever way they plan on how to go about their test endeavors, they need to make sure that one, the bowlers are fit, and two, game sense wise, they're well taken care of. And another area of concern, I think, for the English is the spin department, because spinners take wickets, spinners control the pace of the game, spinners enable the fast bowlers to rest a little bit. And so it's important that they also have Bashir, if they're going to pick him, bowling well. If not, they need to make sure that they start looking for a better replacement soon, so that that player can come and adapt into the way the test side is shaping up. But batting-wise, I think they're batting very well. And the wickets that they're preparing on home soil are also favoring them on the batting side of things. You've got guys like Harry Brook, they score quickly. Jamie Smith has just put his hand up and shown that he's a quality test batter. In amongst that, we've got the class of Joe Root, who just keeps batting and churning up runs. So they've got a good balance, but they need to make sure that they're clever about it, especially on the pace bowling side of things.
Yes, and John, you're best placed, better placed than almost anyone in the world to talk about this. If India do succumb to defeat here, of course, the turnaround from England in this fourth innings of India's has been huge. But where do you think the questions will be asked? Again, not choosing to play with Kuldeep Yadav, they chose Washington Sundar, which of course adds that extra batting depth. But we saw how England were dismantled, yes, in Indian conditions, but during that white ball series, Chakravarti playing a part as well. Something, as an English cricket fan, I fear when a world-class spin bowler comes on to bowl any spell, let alone on a fourth or fifth day pitch when the ball's moving around. Do you think the Indian selectors have got it wrong here if they do end up losing and this magical recovery from Jadeja doesn't come through?
I think it's tough to say that, because hindsight is always easy. I think both teams played as well as they can, and there were little spells of brilliance from certain individuals. We saw how Bumrah, when the ball wasn't doing much, came and got quick wickets, got 5. Washington Sundar as well bowled spin. This morning, Archer turned it up. Plus, the batters have just been batting well all throughout the season. So I think at the moment, England are looking like they are set to win the Outback England, to win it at the moment, needing 30 odd with 1 wicket in hand. If they play their cards right, set good fields and make sure that they attack Siraj as much as possible when he's on strike, they could actually win it. But if they don't, they know that they would have given it their all. Maybe they'll look at different shot selections from a couple of batters. But like I said, it's always easy to look back at it and say we could have done that. But on any other day, if that had come off, it was going to be brilliant. So I think this game is perfectly balanced from a spectator's point of view, because we're getting entertained, and that's what we want to have as spectators, to be entertained, so that, as they say, Test cricket is dying, but I don't believe it's dying, because players are playing well and entertaining the crowd.
Yes, and John, this another highlight of Test cricket's resurgence. Every cricket fan across the world knows that the rise of the white ball game, the lucrative contracts on offer to tour around and play franchise cricket, has taken some talents away from Test cricket. But this a highlight of two sides that are focusing on Test cricket. Zimbabwe, of course, playing Test matches against England and other top nations in recent weeks and months as well. Do you think Test cricket is back? And what do you think the catalyst for that has been? Is it the Bazball higher run rates, or is it just the level of competition and quality we're seeing out on the pitch?
I think, I know I'm a bit biased when I say this because I love Test cricket. I think Test cricket never died or never slumped, because ultimately any cricketer in the world, in amongst all these franchise tournaments, in amongst all the money that is thrown around, wishes to play Test cricket. And it's up to the players themselves. I know the boards can do certain things to try and entice them, but then as a player, if you play international cricket for a long time and you haven't played Test cricket, I think there'll be something inside you that'll be missing. So I think Test cricket on its own should be like a dangling carrot for all the players to be able to try and balance up their schedules to fit in Test cricket. But like we said, Bazball, yes, is an effect, but then it's the wickets that are being prepared in certain places. So now when you come to England, you get free-flowing cricket because of the wickets. When you get to India, you get spinning wickets that will challenge you. We can see right now even in the West Indies, where Australia is playing West Indies, the wickets are seaming. Last week or so, Zimbabwe played South Africa on a good wicket. So there's a bit of a mix of everything, and it's good that all these nations are playing as well, because that's one of the things that I think the lesser nations at times get overlooked when it comes to Test cricket. So if the lesser nations are playing, which means a lot of people are playing, which means Test cricket is being advertised throughout the world in every nation. So it becomes more appealing, if we can put it that way, because everyone has got access to it, both from a playing side of things and both from a spectator side of things.
Yes, John, absolutely. We'd love to have you back on the programme to discuss that topic around smaller cricketing nations and the opportunities they're getting. That one we will save for another day. But the highlight of this, of course, play is now back underway at Lord's. 30 runs, 1 wicket. Where are you putting your money?
Oh, I generally don't like putting my money on anything, but in this instance, I think it is England's to lose and India's to fight to win for. So at the moment, England has got the upper hand, 1 wicket and 30 runs. It's quite not so difficult for England, but India have to work extra hard if they're going to win this.
Yes, absolutely, John. Thank you ever so much for joining us. I hope you're right. My colleagues will be hoping that I'm not. I'll be very unpopular in the office if we do get that final wicket. But no, thank you ever so much for joining us, John. We look forward to speaking to you next time as well.
Thank you very much, guys. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Yes, absolutely. We'll stay with cricket now. And Cameron Green's unbeaten 42 has kept Australia ahead after 15 wickets fell on a chaotic second day of the final test against West Indies in Kingston. Australia dismissed the hosts for 143, with Scott Boland picking up 3 for 34 after posting 225 in their first innings. But under the lights, Australia stumbled to 99 for 6, leading by 181, with Green and skipper Pat Cummins at the crease. Alzari Joseph took 3 for 19, while Shamar Joseph claimed 2, sparking a fiery West Indies comeback. Despite the low scores, the series sweep remains within reach for the Aussies. We head away from cricket and look towards golf now, as Rory McIlroy is upbeat ahead of the British Open after finishing runner-up at the Scottish Open, 2 shots behind American Chris Gotterup. McIlroy, who won the Masters in April, looked to become the first to win both that and the Scottish Open in the same season. Despite falling short, he tied for second with Marco Penge and said his form is peaking at just the right time. The 5-time major winner now heads to Royal Portrush, eyeing a second Open title and confident in his ball control and shot making. Staying with golf once again, Grace Kim pulled off a sensational comeback to win the Evian Championship, becoming Australia's 5th women's major winner. 3 shots back with 4 holes to play, Kim went birdie, birdie, par and eagle on the 18th to force a playoff with Thai star Gino Titical. After finding water on the first extra hole, Kim chipped in for birdie and then drained a 20-foot eagle putt to seal the title in style. The 24-year-old had only one LPGA win before this and was struggling for form earlier in the season. Kim now joins an elite list alongside Carrie Webb, Jan Stevenson, Minjee Lee and Hannah Green as Aussie women Grand Slam winners. Moving to football, and the Women's Euro 2025 quarter-final lineup is all confirmed after an action-packed final round of group stage games. In Group A, Norway advanced with a perfect record after beating Switzerland, who scraped through in second on goal difference. Group B saw Spain dominate with 14 goals in 3 games, topping the group ahead of Italy, while Belgium and Portugal crushed out. Sweden were again flawless in Group C, finishing with 9 points and knocking out Germany, Poland and Denmark. And in Group D, France edged England for top spot with 3 wins from 3 as the Lionesses secured second place after a 6-1 win over Wales. We stay with football now, and Liverpool have honoured the late Diogo Jota and his brother Andre Silva in an emotional pre-season return at Preston, just 10 days after the tragic death of both brothers in a car crash. Flags, scarves and a wreath were laid by Preston captain Ben Whiteman, who proceeded moving renditions of You'll Never Walk Alone and Can't Help Falling in Love. Fans sang Jota's name before kickoff and again in the 20th minute, his squad number with both sets of supporters joining in. Conor Bradley, Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo scored in a 3-1 win, each paying tribute to Jota's signature celebration. Liverpool have officially retired the number 20 shirt on Friday. Head coach Arne Slot said the team would carry Jota in their hearts forever and urged players to honour him by being true to themselves. Well, next we move to the world of motorsports. Midweek we had the huge news that Christian Horner's 20-year stint at Red Bull is over. The 51-year-old was dismissed with immediate effect as team principal, replaced by former Racing Bulls boss Laurent Mekies. In an emotional farewell to Red Bull staff in Milton Keynes, Horner confirmed he remains on payroll but has stepped away from all operational duties. Speculation is now swirling over his next move. Sky F1's David Croft believes Horner could be eyeing a shift towards team ownership, drawing parallels with Mercedes boss Toto Wolff. Unlike Wolff, Horner never held equity in Red Bull, which remains owned by the Uvidja and Mateschitz families. Well, thank you ever so much for joining us on this programme. We will be back next week on Monday to bring you more of the greatest sporting action from across the globe. Until then, thank you very much.